Sup peeps, today I have a review for you on The Maze Runner by James Dashner. This has been a long time in the making. I know a lot of people have been waiting for this one, so yeah, let's launch right into it. The Maze Runner begins with Thomas, who is 16 years old. He wakes up in an elevator and he has no memories whatsoever. He doesn't remember who his family is, his past, anything. He just knows that his name is Thomas, and he remembers things like he understands that snow is snow and grass is grass, but he has no memories associated with them at all. When he is taken out of this elevator shaft by a bunch of other boys, he realizes he is in a gigantic maze. Now, these bunch of boys that he meets in there, they all have their own little language and they have their own little community in the center of this maze. They have a house, they have food, they even have a graveyard for people who have died. And we, as the reader, begin to understand that they are being provided for. So certain things come up in the elevator, and every month a boy is delivered, and then they get supplies as needed and whatnot. So they are aware that there's something greater out here in this maze. Their entire point they've decided for their existence is to figure a way out of the maze. Now, the title Maze Runner comes from the fact that there are a group of boys that run the maze every day and try to map it to find a way out. Of course, Thomas comes along and he decides that he wants to be a maze runner. However, every night the entrance to their little section in the middle of the maze closes and the maze changes. They can't stay outside of their little meadow, their glade, because there are something called the grievers out there, which are basically these really disturbing machine things that will kill you if you're out there. So yeah, everything's kind of working against them. When he arrives in this glade, he realizes that they're all kind of content. Like, there are certain people that really want to get out and they really want to run the maze and figure a way out, but at the same time, they have this life established for themselves and they're definitely not suffering. However, when a girl mysteriously appears in the elevator, that's when everything goes to shit, and that's when the story really takes off, because, oh my god, it's a girl. It's always been guys, then all of a sudden it's a girl, so that's when you know that things are really going to start to take off. The thing is, there are a lot of characters in this book because there's a lot of boys and one girl, but I never really felt attached to any of them. The main character, Thomas, I never really was like, yeah, Thomas is awesome, I really like where he's going with this. I mean, he did try to save the day a bunch of times, and he's definitely a smart person, but I was never like, Thomas is the character I want to read about him. I was actually more attached to Minnow, if any of you guys remember him. I actually liked his character the best. I wish they had talked about him even more. I also found the pace a bit off. I can't really put my finger on it, but I just felt like there were certain points where it dragged on and on. In the beginning, when Thomas is being introduced to the environment and meeting the people, I was kind of like, okay, like I get that this is important to sort of establish everything, but I didn't want to hear about it forever and ever. And then there were certain parts where they're running away from grievers and it's like so intense, you just have to keep reading, and I just couldn't find that happy medium that made me really want to enjoy the book. However, this does have a really unique plot. I've never heard of anything like this before, and it is part of a series, so the next book, The Scorch Trials, will obviously shed some light on things that happen in this book, as well as create more tension and I'm sure introduce a whole new outside world outside of this maze, because we know that there are people out there because they were getting supplies and whatnot. I decided to give this book a 4 out of 5 stars. I know this is well loved by many. There are a group of people that enjoy it more than The Hunger Games, but that's not quite me. So 4 out of 5 stars. I recommend this to anybody who's looking for a good dystopian story, YA, some totally new stuff that you've never ever heard of. And although there are some issues in the beginning with, like I said, they have their own little dialect, so it can be a little confusing at first, but by the end, or, you know, not even by the end, by the middle, you understand what certain words mean, and it just kind of becomes part of the reading experience. So I know a lot of people have read this book. Let me know what you thought of it down below. Better than The Hunger Games? Not as good? Didn't nearly enjoy it as much as you wanted to? Favorite book ever? Let me know. I will be picking up Scorch Trials eventually and getting on to reading the rest of the series. As always, all of the links are in the doobly-doo. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you later.